Welcome to CityCast Denver. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. So today we're talking about Pena Boulevard and its potential expansion and possibly related Colorado's road rage problem, plus some thoughts on Waterworld. Editor-in-Chief of The Lever, David Sirota, hi.
Hi there.
Good morning. Before we get started, it is listener survey time. So here's the deal. I've got a favor to ask you all. CityCast is doing our annual listener survey, and it would really, really help us out if you took it. So this is our chance to learn more about what you want from CityCast, who you are, and how we can serve you better. If you took it last year, we would love for you to take it again, since we can't use last year's data anymore, obviously. But if you haven't taken it ever, please take it now. Go to citycast.fm/survey, take the survey. It's only 7 minutes long. We timed it, I promise. Just go to citycast.fm/survey. And when you take the survey, you're eligible to win a $250 Visa gift card. So we would love it if you did that. Thank you so much. Okay, let's talk about widening highways, DIA, road rage. All of this goes together, David. So DIA has been hot on this thought of widening Pena Boulevard for years. And then last spring, City Council approved a $15 million contract to study this potential expansion. Transit advocates were rightly not happy about this because initially there wasn't much, if any, consideration of options beyond just making the highway bigger. So after some pushback from groups like Green Latinos, Greater Denver Transit, and more, DIA went back to the drawing board to consider other options that could involve things like improved bus and train service. And now Denverite reports this week that there may finally be some redesign options to look at. Before we get into those, David, you travel a fair amount. How do you get to DIA?
I usually take either a car, our car, or I take an Uber. And the reason I do that, frankly, is because I'm in Southeast Denver, where taking RTD to the airport is sort of like I don't know. I think I gamed it out once. What is it? An hour and a half, an hour and 15 minutes, something like that at best. Southeast Denver is sort of, you got to go up and then like make a right turn, in the RTD system. So it's one of those areas that's like particularly isolated in a certain sense from DIA. But I'm sure there are other neighborhoods that are like that as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think for a lot of folks, it's more of a task and takes more time than to just hop in the car or grab that Uber. I will say the Uber can be a little bit pricey. However, a lot of times my family parks our car there at one of those faraway lots for whatever dollars a day. And I can't say that I've thought about taking the train, although I have tons of friends that are like, it's so easy, just get yourself downtown. And that's the hard part. And then you jump on the train and it's straight there. I think the funny thing to me about this, when we've talked about this before, is the train didn't appear to go to the airport from the city for like 2 decades after we built the airport.
Yeah. I mean, I've wondered, here's the question that I've always wondered is, the satellite lot idea, I think, is like a good idea. And I've actually wondered whether why they haven't built more of them arguably closer to the city, where you could actually drive like halfway there and then get a bus straight there. Like, in other words, to not deal with Pena Boulevard specifically, you could like imagine parking at some giant lot right there where there were buses that had no traffic, a bus lane, and I know that's what they've been talking about, a bus lane that would guarantee you no traffic. So it guaranteed the minute you park, it's only going to be, 10 minutes away, right? But I don't think that's necessarily on the table right now.
I don't think it is either, although there is, let's get into sort of there's a couple different redesigns. Again, DIA's preferred move so far has been to widen Pena Boulevard. And I do want to shout out Denverite. They've done some incredible reporting on this. Denverite reports that airport officials are also interested in prioritizing expanded public transit, but would, quote, require collaboration with other public agencies, which also just feels to me like they're shading RTD a little bit and being like, well, we'll have to deal with RTD. And who wants to do that? And I think in the minds of most Denverites, myself included, until I really got into covering this and understanding it, I wouldn't necessarily know there was a difference so much between RTD and the city and how these things work, because, we're taxpayers. It all goes into this. But these are truly separate agencies that have to decide to work with each other. So that bus lane thing is great in theory, but could we get there?
Yeah, I mean, that's the real question. Look, I think ultimately people are not going to get out of their cars. And this is an obvious statement of I think, fact. They're not going to get out of their cars on Pena Boulevard unless there is something that is perceived to be just as easy, right? I mean, that's ultimately what we're really talking about. People use their cars because they feel like that's the most straightforward, quickest way to do it. So until that formula changes, I think it's, yeah, you can widen the road, but that's, we know from the past that like widening roads typically just encourages more traffic. It doesn't necessarily solve the traffic problem. And that's why I go back to this like bus idea, where if you said to me, hey, listen, it's going to take you just as much time and maybe be cheaper for you to drive like halfway there, park in a giant parking lot, and we've resourced a traffic-free bus lane in a real way to make sure that buses are super frequent so that you're going to make your flight, right? I mean, then you're going to change potentially the psychology. Then the psychology becomes, well, it's really expensive and a pain in the ass to drive all the way to DIA with all the traffic and the expenses there. Now you've given me an easier, cheaper option. I think that's when the psychology will actually change. But I don't know if we're there yet.
Yeah, the psychology part of it is huge. And you're speaking about something called induced demand,
right,
which is something that transit advocates have been clamoring about for years, saying you widen a highway, more people just fill up that highway. And then ultimately, I don't think it shaves anything. Less than a minute, I think they've found off of most commutes when this happens. It's just the perception that there's more highway, so I will go faster, when reality shows that's not what happens really at all.
That's right. And again, I think a situation where things at the airport are becoming more and more of a pain in the ass. Again, whether it's the traffic or whether it's the traffic on Pena Boulevard or the traffic like inside of the airport complex. I mean, the thing is, when you could design a system where when the bus brings you to the airport, it's in a special lane that isn't dealing with the rest of that. Again, making it more convenient, more reliable in terms of making your flight. I think there are ways to do that. Frankly, as the situation at the airport becomes more painful, I think the public will be more open to the idea that if you give me an easier option, people will take that.
Yeah, and so this is one of the options that they have in this redesign is a managed lane. So a managed lane would would still widen the highway, but those lanes would be for buses, shuttles, or toll-paying vehicles. And I think that's where the concern lies for many transit advocates is the idea that you're having of this separate lane for buses. Is it really just going to be for buses, or are they still going to be fighting some sort of traffic situation because they're sharing a toll lane with people that want to pay more to get there faster? That's not necessarily a dedicated bike or bus lane. I'm sorry.
Right.
What I'm thinking about is this conversation I had last week with Jill Locantore from Denver Streets Partnership about the BRT project coming to Colorado Boulevard and the fight already over that. And how Glendale City Council has basically said, we don't want you to build this, which is wild to me because if anything, Colorado Boulevard is massive. And that would be the perfect north-south
exactly
route to do exactly what BRT is hoping to do. Maybe something like that for the express to the airport kind of thing, which is, again, what the A train does if you're in the right part of the city to get to it.
Yeah, and again, the light rail in Southeast Denver going downtown, you can park at the RTD stop, and yes, there are stops, but you don't have to worry about traffic. I think that's why that's the selling point of that RTD light rail line. And again, I think you're right. Like Colorado Boulevard, perfect example. You got plenty of space. I guess the argument against it, or the fear, is that if you take up a lane on the street, you're going to make traffic on the street worse. But then the argument is, well, you're giving people even more of an incentive to get on the bus. Like that's the incentive to get on the bus. If the traffic is worse and there's no traffic in the bus lane, shouldn't you be getting on the bus?
And to prioritize the bus the same way that cars have been prioritized so they can be faster and more efficient and all of these things that we look to our cars for, whether it's sort of an illusion or not. Because I mean, I'll be honest with you, I live in West Denver. I'm like at Alameda and Federal.
Mm-hmm.
I get on to I-25 to I-70 on a good day. It takes me 35, 40 minutes to get to the airport.
Right. Yeah, totally.
There's really nothing that can beat that yet. But could there be? Hopefully. So again, Paolo at Denver did some great reporting. He said officials say that other ideas include better park and ride lots, which I think is what you're talking about.
Yep.
New bus or Pacific shuttle service, a more frequent A-line service, or free and reduced transit fares. But there's not much that can be done with the A-line itself, right? There's not much that can be done with existing rail. It's expensive. We can't build more of it just for this. And another concern, though, that I think we should talk about really quickly is the folks that live in the neighborhood near this, right? Green Valley Ranch. So Councilwoman Stacey Gilmore has said part of the problem with the Pena Boulevard traffic is her folks in her neighborhood can't get in and out of their own neighborhood because they're dealing with highway traffic. So another thought is to create a sort of like this separate lane that's just for DIA travelers, which I find
interesting.
to be
interesting. That's definitely interesting. And that is a real local concern for the community out there that this is causing problems for them. It's a mess, and it's kind of baked into the fact that they put the airport, basically in Western Kansas. And so my rant about DIA is and I've been to obviously a lot of cities, a lot of airports. Like, to me, it feels like the airport that it takes the longest to go from like the center of the city to get all the way to your gate. Meaning it's how far away the airport is. It's the traffic. It's once you're at the airport, you've got to get on another train. I mean, like, they have really made it like you really got to want to get to your gate.
It's that internal traffic you're talking about at the actual airport as well.
Right. So you have like traffic to get to the airport, traffic inside of the airport complex. You get out of whatever vehicle you're in. Then you're like not only in a line, fine, every airport has that, but then you have to get on a subway. Right. And then now with the expansion of the terminals, you got to like walk like 2 miles. If you're flying on Frontier, I mean, you got to walk all the way through that terminal, now down underneath. Like, you really got to apportion a lot of time just to get to your gate.
Yeah. And I think all of that factors into a thought when you get ready to say, okay, going on a trip, how am I deciding to get to the airport in 3 days? Or if you're my husband, that morning you decide, which way are we going to go? Well, again, this is still very much in process. And I do want to say we are touching on the very top of a very long, very detailed situation that's been going on for many years. You can provide feedback, however, as a listener, as someone in the city, through the end of July. DIA is taking feedback. We'll put a link in the show notes where you can see the redesigns as well. Also, there will be an open house July 23rd at the Green Valley Ranch Rec Center if you want to talk to somebody in person about this or you have some big ideas. Also, I'm going to share a link in the show notes to Greater Denver Transit's coverage and response of this situation, because they have very clearly laid out every single decision that City Council has made on this. So if you want to go all the way back and see where we've been in the last couple of years, they have been super helpful. But we'd also love to hear from you. We know this is a never-ending problem. How do you get to the airport? How would you like to get to the airport if you had a magic wand and could choose the ideal way? Give us a call, 720-500-5418 on the I Need to Get to DIA hotline. Let us know what you're thinking. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and we are going to talk to something remotely related, which is Colorado's problem with road rage. This episode is brought to you by Denver Health. Summer in Colorado means trails, sunshine, and sometimes the unexpected. John Froelich felt off during a hike west of Denver. He drove straight to Denver Health, where doctors found he was having a serious heart attack. Denver's healthcare team got him the treatment he needed fast. And 6 months later, John crossed the finish line at the Colfax Half Marathon. John's story is a reminder of what can happen when Coloradans go out and live their summer. With locations across Denver, a clinic in Winter Park, and virtual care available 7 days a week, Denver Health is never far from wherever summer takes you. At Denver Health, They're with you for life's journey. Learn more at denverhealth.org/survivor story. That's denverhealth.org/survivor story. Okay, road rage. So, Hannah Metzger at Westward reported that aggressive drivers in Colorado contribute to more deadly car crashes than nearly any other state. So, in fact, 4 in 10 fatal collisions involved aggressive or careless driving in 2024, accounting for 255 of the state's 642 deadly crashes. We are the 5th highest in the nation. David, what is your relationship to road rage?
Well, I grew up in the Philadelphia area, which is, I would argue, the road rage capital of America. And I saw that on the list, there was New Jersey.
Yes.
Was near the top of the list. Now, the thing with Philadelphia, the reason Pennsylvania, I'm guessing, was not on the top of the list is because Pennsylvania is a whole state. Philadelphia is just a city. So I think Philadelphia is right on the border with New Jersey. So I think Philadelphia, the fact that New Jersey was on there, and Jersey has the worst of all worlds, got New York and Philadelphia. So not surprising that it's at the top of the
high traffic,
list.
Lots of personalities.
Exactly. So I grew up in the cauldron of real road rage. So I'm a little skeptical that Colorado is near New Jersey levels of true road rage, because I grew up around what real road rage is. That said, yeah, look, road rage in a state with serious traffic problems. I feel like traffic problems accompany road rage, right? Like enough when traffic becomes so much the way of life. That's going to naturally create, over years, a deep frustration with being on the road. Like people are on the road and they're not happy. I don't know how to explain why we, more than, I don't know, California, where they've got plenty of traffic, why we would be above a place like California. I mean, what's your explanation? Like, what do you think?
I mean, I think we have a road rage problem. I think that it has gotten worse and worse. I thought it was like maybe because I'm getting older and I'm paying more attention. I've got a kid in the car now, but I just have noticed the thing that I noticed the most is speeding tends to be the other component of this, at least where I live, right? Yeah. On Alameda is a speedway. And on Alameda, if you don't go 10 to 20 miles above the speed limit, people are whipping around you, screaming at you, honking.
Yeah, there's a lot of speeding around here.
Yeah, don't go the speed limit because people will try to drive you off of the road. And there was this quote from State Patrol, and they said that they issued 42,000 speeding tickets in the last year. And they don't think that that's changing anybody's behavior. So ticket people all you want. They're still going to speed. And this obviously is integral to the road rage part, I think, because that's how people end up dying, right? Is someone whipping around you. There was this really scary incident last month where 2 drivers stopped in the middle of I-70 to fight after they were tailgating and like brake checking each other, which is, can you imagine getting out of your car? But this is the level we're at, and this is what I think this is truly a Denver problem.
Yeah, I mean, I learned I learned at an early age in driving around Philadelphia, et cetera, like road rage isn't worth it. Like as mad as you can be,
yes.
Like sort of escalating into personalizing it, flipping people off, like it can all end badly.
Well, I should admit, I am a recovering road rage person for sure. I had it way worse probably a couple years ago. Two things that have slowed it down. I have an electric car that's it was a gift to me, but it's about 10 years old. I only have so much battery left. Like you speed, you lose battery.
Yep.
So it keeps me in line a little bit better. And also I recently got a personalized license plate, and I don't want to get into an altercation with someone because you will not forget my license plate.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think about that. If you get a personal license plate and you piss someone off, they're going to remember. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe some of the rest of you in recovery, like myself, that might be a helpful thing for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. I mean, the unfun part of this is people die. It's terrifying. It
Yeah.
is, again, it is the only thing in my neighborhood I don't like is I live next to a busy street where people have no concern for pedestrians, let alone just other people going the speed limit. So, there was one more thing I wanted to, I don't know. It's just, okay, I guess before we move on, let's tie this into the DIA Pena Boulevard conversation, right? This all kind of goes together as you kind of said this. We do. We love our cars. We like to get places in our cars. And I think this is all part of this larger problem. And it's making me think about a movie that I know we both love, Singles, the Cameron Crowe movie from the 90s. But Campbell Scott plays like a transportation planner. And he is trying to get Seattle on board with a train. And he's like, well, we'll provide good music, we'll have coffee, and people will just like sit and enjoy and ride their way to work. And I think it's like Kira Sedgwick is like, but I love my car.
Yeah, she's like, people are not getting out of the cars. Like, she's totally like, yeah. She's like, yeah, I don't buy it. Yeah, totally. The Super Train. I mean, that's a great, that's just a great movie reference. And like, I do think there was honesty in that scene where she's just like, I don't know if people are going to get out of their cars. And again, I go back to the idea that if you want less road rage, if you want less traffic, if you want fewer people basically on the road in their own individual cars, you have to make the alternative better, as convenient,
yes,
or cheaper and better. I mean, here's the thing. There still are a lot of cars in New York City, right? But most people who live in New York City are taking the subway because having a car is cost prohibitive. And in many cases, it is slower. If you want to go from one part of the island of Manhattan to the other part of Manhattan, in many cases, a cab will be slower than taking the subway.
Yeah. And like, do you want to park that car? Do you want to pay the tickets on that car? Do you want to deal? I mean, I lived in New York for a year. I would never drive. I mean, I drove there one time. It was terrifying. The subway, even when it's too hot, even when it's backed up, it's still easier.
But I think there's something that we haven't said here. Any public transit option or park and ride option, it's not just that it's cheaper and the actual distance that you're moving is going to go faster because there's no traffic. The frequency is also important.
Yes.
You have to guarantee people that when they get to the RTD station or the park and ride, that they're not going to have to wait an hour for the next bus.
Or
right?
hope it comes at all. Yes.
Yeah, or hope it comes at all. Totally.
And I do want to say, David and I are not having some new novel ideas. This is things transit advocates have been talking about forever, is more frequent service, better buses, more accessibility, all of those things.
No, and I told you, I go skiing, and this comes up every winter with skiing. I am a huge proponent of the snow stang. The snow stang, to get up to the mountains, there's a couple mountains that it takes you to. You can park for free at the RTD station out in Lakewood. You can pick it up in at Union Station. It's underutilized. I can't stand I-70 ski traffic on the weekend, but I want to go skiing. You hop on that bus. It's not that expensive. It's as cheap as certainly as the parking up at the ski mountains. It's the kind of thing where ultimately, to me, I was like, okay, this is a cheaper, more relaxing way to get up to the mountain and avoids having me driving in the traffic. In other words, the formula is it made it better for me, and that's when I started doing it. And it's the same thing, I think, for the airport.
100%. I just went to Red Rocks last night and they are testing out shuttles there too. I would love,
Perfect.
I think we would all love to see this.
Love that.
All right. Well, we'll be thinking about this for the rest of time. We're going to take one more break. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Waterworld before we go. Okay, really quickly, this week, Waterworld opened its brand new area, Summit Canyon. According to its website, the, quote, 2.5-acre area is Waterworld's largest renovation since the 1980s, features 4 new water slides, leisure and activity pools, an expansive children's play area, more beverage and food options, and special after-hours events. David, will you be checking out Summit Canyon at Waterworld?
I will not be checking out Summit Canyon at Waterworld unless my kids force me to check it out. I want to preface what I'm about to say with, I had a lovely time going to Waterworld because I was with my daughter who really wanted to go. So if she hears this, I don't want her to think I had a bad time. I had a great time. It was really fun to be with her, and I want to underscore to be with her. And the rides that we went on were relatively fun. But I also think Waterworld is one of the worst places in the entire world.
Oh my God, I love Waterworld.
In the sense that it was so hot. It was so crowded. The cement was so broiling.
It's kind of unbearable.
Unbearably on the feet. And the lines were, they were unbelievable. Like I actually couldn't believe people's tolerance for the lines. And I started to get, so I don't know if you'd call it like line rage, but I was like, you as a facility, Waterworld, this was, by the way, on a Monday. I went on a Monday.
Oh gosh, a Monday, that's not hopeful for me.
Right. I went on a Monday. It was insane. And I was like, you have sold too many tickets. Like
yes.
you've enshittified the experience because you've oversold the gate.
This is my experience recently. I mean, in the last year when I went too, I was like, am I at Disneyland? I'm going on 2 rides the whole day I'm here.
Yes.
So I think the simple answer here is, hey, Waterworld, could you sell less tickets?
Right. Like, they would say, well, we'd have to increase the price of the ticket. And I'm like, listen, I would pay it's not a cheap place to go, but no. I'd pay like a little more
for it to be less crowded.
It to be a more pleasant experience. Also, the lugging 100-pound rafts up a giant mountain. Like there's no delivery system to pick the raft up at the top.
It's a lot for parents.
It's a lot. And one other thing that I realized, and this is totally separate. This is not why Waterworld is the worst. It's just something I noticed. I was wearing regular swim trunks. My daughter was like, Dad, why is are Speedos now the thing? I saw there were more packages at Waterworld in Speedos. I saw more packages than are at a regular Amazon super warehouse.
Oh my God,
are
it
Speedos
like
super
80s.
in and regular swim trunks? I think I was the only guy wearing regular swim trunks. It was weird.
I will blame local brand Shinesty and their Daytona Dong Sarong for that. I think that was probably what's populating.
Seriously, I think I was the only dude wearing regular swim trunks. I didn't know, I would never wear a Speedo. You could not pay me to wear a Speedo. And I felt like I was like an old man. Like everybody else was wearing Speedos.
You know what? I'd rather be an old man in a full old-timey bathing suit than being that guy. So
I don't know. Waterworld had a lot of Speedos. But anyway, yes, Waterworld. Listen, again, if my daughter hears this, I had a wonderful time. She really wanted to go, but just beware. If your kids are asking you to go to Waterworld, just be ready for it is a real experience. I think one last thing I would ask.
Yes.
There were a lot of people there who were renting the cabanas.
Sure.
And there were a lot of people there who weren't with their families. Meaning there were a lot of people there who were choosing on a Monday to go hang out at Waterworld. And I really don't understand that at all.
Well, I will say they have 21 and up nights now. So maybe folks will start going to that. Because I don't know. I would imagine if I was a childless adult, I wouldn't want to be there with a bunch of kids.
Right. Who's it's Monday. Let's get all my friends together and we're going to go hang out at water. I don't really get that.
Well, thank you, David. This was great. Well, I'll check back in later this year when I finally get to Waterworld for the season. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm glad Waterworld is here. I don't want to be a hater of Waterworld, but just it also is the worst place on earth.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Bree again. One more time, I have a huge favor to ask you. We're doing our annual listener survey, and it super helps us out if you fill it out. We'd love to learn more about you and what you want from this show and what you want to know about the city and everything about it, and it helps us so much if you just go to citycast.fm/survey and fill out the survey. Again, only takes about 7 minutes, and you get entered to win a $250 Visa gift card. Just go to citycast.fm/survey and fill it out today. Hey, Bree here with Kelsey Simpkins, Communications and Programs Manager at the Regional Air Quality Council. Kelsey, welcome to CityCast Denver.
Thanks for having me, Bree.
So for people who might be hearing about ground level ozone for the first time, What exactly is it, and why is it such a stubborn problem here on the Front Range specifically?
The simplest answer to that is ground level ozone is a form of air pollution. It is tricky because it is invisible and odorless. So, in contrast to wildfire smoke, you can't necessarily see it or smell it to know if it's a bad air day. It does contribute to, things like smog or some of that haze that we'll see sometimes around the Front Range, but it's not actually visible and you can't smell it. So it is kind of sneaky, but it is our most pressing air pollution problem here in the summer months. We have a large population that lives here in the Front Range, of course, and we have the perfect weather conditions. So we have a lot of days in the summer where it's really hot, sunny, and what I call perfect pool weather, where it's like 80, 90 degrees. All you want to do is cool off outside. And that's the perfect conditions for these emissions to combine in the air and sort of bake basically in the sunlight and the heat of our amazing summer days. And then the wind and the weather trap it here. So often the worst ground level ozone levels are found along the foothills. So in Chatfield, Golden, Boulder, and all the way up to Fort Collins.
So the American Lung Association apparently compares exposure to this ground level ozone to a sunburn inside your lungs, which is a pretty alarming image. What are the health concerns for people on a high ozone day, and who should be concerned the most?
Yeah, it's a super tangible way to think about what it's doing to your body. So based on people's health, like you noted, folks who have asthma or other respiratory conditions are at the most risk of impacts from ozone. And the other groups that are impacted are children, as they're usually outside a lot in the summer, running around, breathing heavily. Their lungs are also still developing. And kids can also have more asthma.
So, I understand it affects all of us, but I can see where it could be specifically for certain folks really a problem. How do we know? How are people supposed to know when it's a high ozone day?
So there are some telltale signs, but we will also tell you. So there's a lot of groups here in Colorado, including us here at the Regional Air Quality Council and Simple Steps Better Air, who send out alerts on things that are called ozone action days. And so these are forecasts that the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment does. And they push those out also to a lot of weather apps. And it's kind of your choice how you want to get that information, in the most timely, useful way to you, whether it is through your weather app, whether you want to go directly check something called the Air Quality Index, which is that color-coded system some people really like to use, or if you want to sign up for alerts directly from the state, or you can sign up for alerts from us.
Okay, so your program is called Simple Steps Better Air. What are the most impactful things someone in Denver can actually do this summer, both to protect their own health and to help reduce emissions overall?
So if you are more sensitive to air pollution and ozone, we do recommend the best option is to stay indoors on those peak hours. Ozone builds up over the course of the day, and so it's highest in the afternoons when it's also really hot out. So you can kind of avoid both of those things at the same time, stay inside, turn the AC on. If you want to be outdoors, of course, in the summer, a lot of us love to do that. We do recommend people strategize a little bit and get out for that run or that bike ride in the morning when ozone levels are going to be typically lower, again, because it builds up over the course of the day.
So before we wrap up, you've kind of mentioned this, but I would love to know more about how folks listening right now can sign up for these ozone alerts that you all do. And also, tell me about this awesome electric lawn equipment discount that I keep hearing about, but is expiring at the end of this year.
You can sign up for free summer ozone alerts, text or email from Simple Steps Better Air and the Regional Air Quality Council at our website, and that is simplestepsbetterair.org. Or if you just want to text sign up right now, that is a text to 21,000. That's 21 and 3 zeros. And the keyword there is Better Air CO. For that lawn and garden discount that you mentioned, Bree, I have some good news on that. That has likely just been extended. So at the start of the summer, it was going to only run through the end of 2026, but recently a bill was signed to extend that for a couple more years. But we still encourage people to not delay, because the sooner you start going electric with your lawn equipment, the sooner you benefit. So that is a 30% discount at point of sale statewide at participating retailers. So we do recommend you go online or call in advance to confirm you're going to get that amazing discount. And there's no rebate, nothing you have to mail in or anything. It's just a straight up discount at the counter.
we've switched to like native plants and wild grasses, but we still needed a weed whacker, and the electric one is awesome. So good to know. Folks can do that right now if they'd like. Kelsey, thank you so much for being here and taking the time to talk to me.
Thanks for having me, Bree.
To learn more and sign up for free summer ozone alerts, head to simplestepsbetterair.org or text BetterAirCO to 21000. And hey, don't forget, go get that 30% off electric lawn equipment at participating retailers statewide. Thanks for listening.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. If you enjoyed this show, why not take a minute to tell the teenager operating the new Runoff Rapids water slides at Waterworld about us? Rate the show wherever you get your podcasts, follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and subscribe to our morning newsletter at denver.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. See you later.